windows and doors open and close, keeping out and letting in. The dark and the light, the wrong and the right, I decide what enters in. Things that I choose determine if I lose all the light that's within my holy house. Shadowy voice speaks at my door with many dark things to say. What should I do? The spirit inside tells me I should turn away. A temple of light with windows clean and bright lights the soul that's within my holy house. Mine is a house of holiness, up to me to keep it clean. My own temple full of love and light, where the Spirit stays with me. I begin to see souls in me, knocking so gently, hearts to beat. Should I let them into my life? Is there room inside for love, for love? Seeking to help, seeking to care, making a welcome place. With each kind step, love fills the room, granting the Savior's grace. A temple of light, with windows clean and bright, lights the soul that's within my holy house. Mine is a house of holiness, up to me to keep it clean. My own temple full of love and light, where the Spirit stays with me. Mine is a house of holiness, up to me to keep it clean. My own temple full of love and light, where the Spirit stays with me, where His Spirit stays with me. windows and doors open and close, keeping out and letting in the dark and the light, the wrong and the right. I decide what enters in. Things that I choose determine if I lose all the light that's within my holy house. Shadowy voice speaks at my door with many dark things to say. What should I do? The spirit inside tells me I should turn away. A temple of light with windows clean and bright lights the soul that's within my holy house. Mine is a house of holiness, up to me to keep it clean. My own temple full of love and light, where the Spirit stays with me. I begin to see souls in me, knocking so gently, hearts to feed. Should I let them into my life? Is there room inside for love, for love? Seeking to help, seeking to care, making a welcome place. With each kind step, love fills the room, granting the Savior's grace. A temple of light, with windows clean and bright, lights the soul that's within my holy house. Mine is a house of holiness, up to me to keep it clean. My own temple full of love and light, where the Spirit stays with me. Mine is a house of holiness, up to me to keep it clean. My own temple full of love and light, where the Spirit stays with me, where His Spirit stays with me.
from Lehigh, Utah, you are watching Mormon Talk with Carson O. Kimball and Brett O'Call.
Just get your out from me. No, I saw you try to put it under my feet.
No, I did not. When we put the chairs down, it was already there.
No, you were whipping it and whapping it all over, and it just ended up under me.
Hold on. Okay, if you're not going to get up, all right, I'm just going to have to... Oh, my gosh.
You're really going to sit there and yank it out like that? Okay, all right, fine. Fine, Carson.
Okay. All right, the mics are... All right, let me turn them on. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. I think we accidentally muted the microphones when we transferred over from the intro. But hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mormon Talk. My name is Carson O. Kimball.
And I am Brett O'Call.
And we are here to take your calls every Monday night for, it's been a long time now. But anyway, before we start, Brett and I just want to apologize for being here late.
Absolutely. I was preparing dinner tonight for my family, and I ended up cutting my finger excruciatingly to the point where there was a lot of blood everywhere in all the food. So the dinner had to be scrapped, and I left it up to my wife, who I thought could handle the responsibility of making the dinner in time before I had to do Mormon Talk. But unfortunately, it was not done in time, and so here I am, a little bit late. So apologies for my wife. She never mind. Anyway, so thank you for your patience. Let's continue.
And on another note, we have reached a point in the past week with some of the emails we've been getting and just things that have accumulated over time. But just suffice it to say, one or perhaps more than one of our longtime viewers decided to reveal to us their true colors and sent us unspeakable and frankly pornographic videos of themselves. And we've already had issues with people sending us inappropriate things. We've already had people show up at Brett's residence because someone was talking about his address on the show, okay, and show up on quads, not wearing clothing, okay, and basically they had they had signs or something. They were wearing masks, not COVID masks, but like
full frontal masks,
right? And so I'm sorry if that's just a terrible image in people's heads. I hope that children don't understand what I'm talking about. But, you know, there comes a point when we're doing a public service like Mormon Talk, and we're taking people's calls, and we're trying to create a better place on the internet. And when people just give us basically sewage in return, and rotting garbage in return. It's like there's only so much we can take.
One of the person that was sending us filth, at least one of the people, doesn't really seem to understand, American customs. They're from a different country, and I think they just do things differently there. Maybe they weren't trying to horribly offend us with some of the things that they sent us, but unfortunately,
I disagree.
We were horribly offended. It was terrifying, some of the things that you saw just in the first second. In the first second of the video, that's all I saw. I was able to close my eyes after that first second, but in that first second, I'm speechless. I'm erasing it from my brain. So right now, temporarily, our email is down. We are having someone scrub it, just as I'm trying to scrub my brain of that image. We did
the same thing with Twitter too. If people have questions about that, we shut down Twitter because our inbox was full of filth. Okay, not just from the last week, but from the dawn of Mormon Talk on Twitter. There has just been filth sent. Okay, we had a viewer named the Pi 20 who sent us inappropriate pictures,
and we would block his account,
and
he would keep making new accounts just to keep sending pictures of himself. It was
obsessive and gross and disgusting.
We reported it to the police.
Yeah, we did. We finally did. I don't know if there's a statute of limitations, but regardless, it's been reported. The harassment has just reached a boiling point, frankly. It's like sewage boiling, okay? And reaching a point where it's overwhelming, we've got to turn the gas off. And so that's what we did. We turned off our Twitter, and we had an actual guy who does this for a business. He works out of Provo. Go through our Twitter and basically cleanse it of
filth.
All the filth,
yeah. And our email too.
That one's still being processed right now, so we're not able to answer emails right now. Our apologies to the good people, even if you are few. Anyway, well, wonderful. We're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines for this first hour. This first 30 minutes, we're just going to be taking general calls. But after the first hour is over and we go on a quick break, we'll be back and discussing how to solve the homelessness crisis, particularly here in Utah, because that's where we operate from.
That's where we can affect the greatest.
Right. So let's put our heads together, everyone. But for now, hello and welcome to Mormon Talk. You are on the air with Carson O'Kimball
and Brett O'Call.
I was just wondering if I could do a little prayer for my cat. He passed away recently.
Your cat passed away recently?
Yes, his name was Little Peter.
Your cat's name was Little Peter, and he passed away. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, just on the outset, just being respectful. Please, no prank calls. There are families that are watching, and anyway. But if you're serious and this is real, then yeah, we're very sorry to hear about that, and you've come to a good place because we're here to empathize with you. I actually had an animal die recently. My beloved dog, Gumbles. And that was terrible. The dog had been in our family for over a decade. And Gumbles was run over. And it was a terrible...
Matt Peter?
Pardon me?
Matt Peter was hit by a car as well.
I'm so sorry to hear about that, and I can assure you that I can empathize.
My condolences.
So, but anyway, yeah, if you'd like to say a few words Absolutely.
Well, you always loved traveling with me. We
Pardon?
went everywhere together. You always loved traveling with me. We went everywhere together.
You sound a little muffled. Is there any obstructions
You
between
always loved traveling with me. We
Oh,
went everywhere
traveling
together.
with you? Yes, yes. Well, what a wonderful
One thing's
animal.
for sure, though, he hated Jews.
Zoos?
hated zoos. Okay.
Jews.
Pardon?
People.
He hated people. Well, you know, some cats when you travel with them, actually, they will.
He hated Jewish people.
Pardon? Should we have a policy where we don't answer calls from teenagers?
Was that a teenager?
Yeah, it sounded like a teenager.
Oh.
Or a 10-year-old or some.
Yeah, I say we just hang up on him. Hello, caller. You are live on the air with Brett O'Connell.
You're on the air with Carson
Hello?
and Brett. Go ahead.
Hello.
Carson, my name's Rick. And, one of my bright spots throughout the week is listening to your stream. So I'd just like to thank you for that. You know, like just thank you. But also, I have a couple questions because I don't think this stream gets to hear a lot about your childhood. So my question to you when we talk is there any funny stories from your past?
Oh, absolutely. We have a treasure trove of memories with both of us in those memories, and also memories and just on our own with our own families and things like that. Anything come to your mind, Brett?
Well, I was thinking about this time that I went camping, and we were roasting marshmallows. Big surprise, right? And I decided that I was going to roast 2 marshmallows on the same skewer. And then my mother was like, I'm going to roast 3 marshmallows. And then my father, he decided, oh man, when was this? I think this is I think this was about 3rd grade. Maybe. Anyway, my father decided to load his entire skewer with marshmallows, and it's just one of my favorite memories. Trying to watch him, he's got this load of marshmallows, and he's roasting them all, and they're getting hot and melty, and they're just dripping off, and so he's trying to like get them all into his mouth. Without like dripping on him or like on the ground or anything, because he was a big non-waster. Wow. And so he's just got like all this like marshmallow goo melting on him, and it was burning him, and he was laughing and screaming, and it's just one of my favorite memories as a child.
I have a fun memory real quick. One time my brothers and I have younger brothers. We got balls and put them in our beds to make it look like we were asleep in our beds. Okay, like we put like a bunch of blankets underneath and like a ball, like where the head should be, to make it look like our head. So to try and fool my parents, and I remember my mother was telling everyone to come downstairs because she had made some delicious, yummy breakfast items for us, like she normally did, every day. And none of us were responding. And so she opened every door to every room and, told, Carson, Wilson, everyone get up. And, no one was getting up. And we were just in the garage. I remember just giggling and gaggling away. And she finally just marched upstairs and found all the balls and found all the blankets. And then we jumped out of the garage and we found a shovel.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
bad enough for every time that happened. You don't hear those stories much. But anyways, this actually reminds me of a story when I was younger in
Okay.
the church. When I was about 7, the priest he asked me in the back room.
You were in the priest quorum? What?
Yes,
Wait, how old were you in the priest quorum?
7.
Oh, so I'm confused. But
I was 7.
oh, so
I was
one.
7.
A member of the priest quorum. Okay, go ahead.
It was just me and him.
Okay.
And he wanted me to ask all.
What do you guys want from this?
I don't
To make us look like we're just a couple of chimps?
think it's an end game. I don't
Okay.
think there's an end game.
To make us look like a couple of chimps in front of everyone? To make us feel like, oh, we just got a fast one pulled on us. Oh, look at Carson and Brett. Okay, they're on here every Monday night. Let's splash them. Okay. Do we look like we're here to be messed with? There are children. Okay. Last week, my family watched Mormon Talk for the second time and was splashed with sewage.
Joke's on them.
I agree, brother. My children are watching this too. I am appalled.
I'm so sorry to you and your wife and your children for them being subjected to the complete balonky stuff that these absolute... I'm sorry.
Nincompoops.
Thank you, brother. You're forgiven. So I was calling in. I had a story I would like to share that perfectly illustrates the power of fasting and praying,
Okay, well,
if
wonderful.
I may share it.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Thank you.
So this was several years ago when I was in the singles ward. We used to do this thing called Break the Fast on Fast Sundays. Y'all know what that is?
Yeah, a big potluck, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like after church, everyone would gather at the Institute building, bring food and eat and fellowship and whatnot.
Right.
So this one time I thought that I would play a joke. I got like one of those aluminum foil half trays, those trays that you would cook like a Thanksgiving turkey in.
Yeah.
And I decided to fill it with all kinds of like random foods. Like I remember I put like a can of tuna in there and like uncooked oatmeal and cracked some eggs in there.
Gosh, that's hilarious.
I put some like ketchup and mustard. I think I like put an apple in there as well. Like I didn't even cut it up, just put an apple in there. And then I put foil over the top and I didn't write anything on it. And then I took it to the Institute building and then I was able to kind of like walk it in there without anybody really noticing me and set it on the table. And then when it was time to eat, you know, we said the prayer and people started going around getting food. And when they took the foil off the top and they saw that food, they were like, ugh, like what is this? This is disgusting.
Did anyone eat it?
You know, a lot of people were just like, what the heck is this? And
Not even the apple?
yeah, it was like all covered with like nasty eggs and stuff.
Oh, gross.
But there's this one girl though, she got like super offended. Like she was so offended in fact that she was like, I'm leaving. Like I can't be here. In fact, I might even like, you know, leave the church because I'm so offended by this.
Yeah. It
And
happens.
I was like, whoa, like.
Yep. That happens.
Chill
Well,
out,
like,
ma'am.
Let me get your opinion. Like, is that like a little over the top on her end? 'Cause I thought like I was just doing kind of like a harmless prank.
Oh,
Like,
well, 100%. Your prank was zany. It was funny. It was well timed. It was something that deserved a. I don't know if everyone gave you applause, but I certainly, in our singles award back in the day, that would have been the case probably. But just the fact that it was rejected, not only just rejected, but the person rejected their own testimony, their own faith, their own happiness, their own road to the kingdom, to heaven, because you spilled oatmeal on her parade, is just. I think that she probably had some underlying issues, and she wanted to find an excuse to blame it on someone other than herself.
Yeah, like she didn't even take a bite of it, right? If maybe she had taken a bite of it and gotten some of that tuna and oatmeal, I would understand her disgust. But just the fact of having that, happen and not even partaking in it, probably, it sounds like a sign of mental illness to me.
yeah, I mean, we like prayed over it, so it should have been fine.
Yeah.
But I will add too that like this girl was like a convert. She'd only been baptized for like 2 or 3 months, I think. So
I see.
she hadn't been ensconced in the gospel
She was
that long.
probably feeling awkward socially too, because
Yeah.
it can be an awkward transition to, be surrounded by brand new people who, have been living this faith longer than they have, and so they might feel, oh golly, maybe they look down on me. So people can be very, I guess, self-conscious in that sort of environment.
I can absolutely see how social anxiety and being in that situation might cause a woman to think that someone is making fun of them by doing such a prank. Someone is trying is trying to personally attack her by doing such a prank.
Mockery of her craft.
Yes.
Right.
Or or maybe something to do with smell or something like that.
Yeah, true. So
Well, wonderful.
So yeah, this girl, she like stormed out of the Institute building, like all mad. And I'm like, geez, like I feel really bad. Like I need to go talk to this girl and set the record straight. Because I don't think I could live with myself knowing that, like, I personally had driven someone away from the church. So I chased after her and I was like, hey, like, it was me who did that. It was just a joke. I didn't mean to offend anybody, let alone make somebody leave the church. And she was like, well, you should feel real bad about yourself. It's not funny.
I see.
What
you're saying.
I agree. I was like, what can we do to make this better? And I suggested, maybe we should, fast and pray to help us feel the Spirit. And the Lord will speak to us through the Spirit and help us, see the true way, right? So we decided to go into my car and we began to fast and pray. And man, let me tell you, this girl was amazing at FAP. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so, like, we were in there fasting and praying, and she was so good at it that it was probably like only 2 or 3 minutes before the bright, white, and warm light of Christ's love started just shooting out of my head, right? It just came blasting out. And, it was warm. And it was so bright, like it was in her.
Okay, that was getting weird. I don't know what he was talking about. Anyway.
Maybe he had mental illness. Yeah. Hello, caller. You are live on the air with Brett O'Call.
And C. Kimball. Welcome to Mormon Talk. You're on the air.
Hello, brothers. Today, me and my family were gathered around having family home evening, and we were talking about this one question. It's, what must I do to be saved? And we just kind of debated around it for a while, and I would love to know your guys' thoughts on that.
First, in very concise terms, what was your opinion that you gave?
My opinion was just stay fast in the church and, do the normal stuff, like go to church, keep your commandments with the Lord, and, just kind of like go to the temple, do baptisms, say your prayers kind of a thing. But they were all like, no, but you need to repent every day. And it's like, I agree with that, but I don't think that's number one. I don't know. Just what is your guys' opinions?
Well, what I think is this. I think that the Lord's system of evaluation is so much different than us. We can't judge one another. We're not even capable. But only the Lord is, because he can see the things that no one else can. And so I think that one thing is just not judging others. If we are, if we show mercy to other people, the Lord said he will show mercy to us. So I think that might have something to do with it. And another part is, I think the Lord looks at what we do with the things that he gives us, the blessings we have, the knowledge of the gospel, for instance, or our families or whomever. He wants to see, if we will be grateful enough to live the gospel and to try our best, okay? And it's like, how on earth can I try my best? Trying my best, I'd be so much better off in life right now if I'd been trying my best every day from day one. Gosh, it's really not possible. But that's where the Lord comes in. The Lord died so that he can make up the difference. But he does ask that we keep his commandments, that we repent. And I think his timetable is so much different than ours as well. It's a very difficult question for me to answer, and I guess my answer is just follow the Savior. Follow what he says,
Believe.
Yeah. I would love to hear Brett's opinion on this, too.
I would too.
I don't think you can sum it up any better than that. I think belief will lead you down the right path. If you're truly believing in the Savior, then you will do what is necessary when the time comes. When you are put in a crossroads and you truly believe in the Savior, you will find the strength to go down the harder path, which is typically the right path. And so I think fundamentally that might be a simple, concise answer.
Yeah, so it's not so much exactly what we are doing, but who we are becoming, and who we're willing to become. That's what the Lord looks at. So that's my opinion. What a wonderful question.
I have another thing. You don't need to cancel all the teenagers calling. I'm 16 and I'm fine. There are people out there who have genuine questions.
Oh well, wonderful. Well, great.
And
thank you for being a good example.
I'm a gamer, but I don't watch porn or anything. I feel like I'm a pretty good person. I study my scriptures and do all that kind of stuff. I consider myself a gamer. I find it a great escape from the harshness of life, But not excessive gaming, but I enjoy to play games, I just don't think that's a stereotype we need to put on all gamers, right?
I can understand your point and your thought process there. However, I still must disagree with you. I think gaming is such an easy step that leads you down the wrong path. It's a baby step almost. it's deceiving. And I think
I
that
have
is
to disagree with you there, though, because it gets me and my friends together. Like, that's how, like,
Well-
we also
well-
hang out in person, but we love to hang out on games and play, like, just have a good time and have fun. But, like, we're not going to use it for the wrong purposes.
What's your
No, I
favorite
don't
game
need-
to play with your friends?
that's not
Friends.
That's not appropriate.
Oh, I think it is.
I don't know. Recently, I've liked, like, Among Us and, like, Minecraft and,
Among Us?
I don't know, Call of Duty. Yeah.
Among Us?
So Call of Duty. Okay. What do you do in Call of Duty?
So you kind of just, you go on and it's kind of like a multiplayer
You
thing.
murder everyone.
No, you capture points and
Wait, how do you
just kind of
capture
run around
points?
and you go to the objective, you usually hold one of the buttons and you capture the point.
Right. But
you
in
do
order
have
for you to
them-
capture that point, you have to defend yourself by
Yeah.
murdering everyone in sight.
It is not real though. It is not real.
So
It
if
does
there were
not
a
leave
simulator,
silence.
if there were a simulator that children played, and the game was they all get to murder your mom, a game designer met your mom and decided to put her in the game, and that was the
That
whole
game
game.
would not be approved. That would
Right,
not be approved. That
right,
would be an approved
because
game,
that's a
obviously,
person
of
that you
course.
care about. All those other people that are being murdered though in the game, is it okay just because they're faceless, characters?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay.
I think
so
you just got
it depends.
binged.
So if it's your mom, so if it's your mom, I don't think a game like that would even be made. I think it's just
Oh,
kind
it
of a
would.
fun, like, oh, you got me, and then you keep going, you respawn.
Yeah, but you're
Keep
murdering
going.
each other.
You're not dying in real person.
I don't-
though. You're
I don't
still
know-
alive.
Of course you're not. It's a simulation.
Yeah.
See, because
And
you
then it's like, oh shucks, I died.
But your argument is that
Challenge, kind of
because
a
you're
challenge.
simulating killing people, it's
No,
okay.
it's not. You're not killing anyone.
So when you shoot someone with a gun and they fall on the ground,
and bleed.
they're not
they
dying.
usually don't. Okay.
See,
okay.
what I think is going on here.
Let's say another game. How about like Minecraft? You run around, you break blocks, and you build a city. Okay, that's not harmful in any way, right?
Yeah, but the time you spend wasting that time building things in a video game, why aren't you building things in real life?
We're building a chicken coop,
Okay.
for instance.
I'll tell you, because after a long, stressful day at school, of maybe not having the best day of school,
Sure.
being pushed down, splashed at school, you kind of just want to be alone for a bit. Like, that's kind of my thing. Like, I don't really want to be around people.
I'm
after
hearing the
school.
same type of arguments that addicts make, like tobacco addicts, for instance.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I had a really stressful day, and it's the way that I wind down. You know what I mean?
That is a totally different thing.
How?
Video games and tobacco. Okay. Me and my friends get together almost every single day in person. It doesn't drive people
And smoke
apart,
cigarettes.
Okay? Me and my friends even got together after school. And then after they left, we were like, hey, we should jump on like Call of Duty and play around.
And
then
go murder
played around
everyone.
and got off. No, it's not. It is not. Oh my gosh.
Can
Okay, I
Ma'am,
understand we have different.
can
viewpoints on
you
that.
even
And
go?
that is
Can you
okay.
can you
But I
go a
still
full
think
day
I'm
without
a
playing
good
video
person,
games?
And
Let me tell you this. I see what you're saying, and you're not alone. It's this common snare. But I've been doing a lot of research for my upcoming book, and I deal a lot in that book with gaming addiction and the specific neurological consequences of gaming. Okay.
what do you think about like games you play with people like in real life? Like kind of a.
Here's
Have you ever heard of Sibbage?
here's an interesting little scientific fact that not many people know, and I think if more people heard this, they would really reconsider. So neuroscientists have concluded absolutely that any more than 70 minutes of video games in a week can be classified as video game addiction. 70 minutes in a week.
They have also concluded that video games can help with eye-hand coordination, and if you're playing a game about like say playing the piano or archery,
Yeah, but a
those are
piano.
both good skills.
But video games are not the only
On,
way.
like an iPad.
How
it's
many
just
people
a
get
keyboard.
murdered by pianos or simulate murder with pianos? Not very many.
It's
There's
still
a game
video
called
game.
Grand
You can't-
Theft Auto
There is a broad brush of video
where
games.
you
can't just brush over all video
I
games. that are
you
not.
absolutely
You
can.
There is like
you can and
Name-
you
you
must.
cannot.
Name one
You
person
can't-
that plays
but
one
you
video
can't
game.
Say that friggin' killing people on a video game is the same as a piano game. Are you serious?
Name
That is
one
not
person
gonna
that
hurt
plays
you in
one
any
video
way or
game.
form.
So what about killing your mom though?
Wait, hold on. I want to make a point.
That's not a game, dude.
It
Do you-
could be.
Do you know
Well,
one
it
person?
wouldn't be passed, dude. There is a process of game development that has to go through.
Do you know-
There wouldn't be a game of people killing your mom, dude. That would be a sucky game to play.
Language. Do you know
Oh, sorry.
one person in your life that plays one video game and one video game alone?
Maybe my mom or
Well,
like
the
my cousin.
the point that I want to make with that is video. It's a gateway, right? You play. Let's say there is an innocent video game, and you play it under the allotted 70 minutes a week, so you're not in the addiction territory. And it's a video game that isn't harmful in any way, and I can't even imagine what that video game would look like, because no video game that isn't harmful exists in our current society.
A piano game. My Roblox,
However-
Minecraft.
However,
There is
when you
lists
when you
and
when you
lists.
start playing that one video game, guess what? You're gonna get bored,
What?
because eventually you get bored of things, and
Video
you're
games
gonna
are designed
you're
for entertainment, though.
you're gonna pick up another game, because you're gonna be like, well, I liked this video game enough. Maybe I'll try another video game, and that video game,
Could be Call of Duty.
could be Call of Duty.
Could be about murdering people. And so
Me and my friends see Call of Duty as a great way to socialize. We find it more as a fun thing. If we get
I
killed,
mean,
we are
people
not
can
sad by it. We're
socialize
just
while
like, oh, cool,
toking
dang,
toking weed.
Or tobacco.
Oh my gosh.
They
Why are you
can.
guys relating it to this? This is
Well,
seriously not the
what
same
here?
issue.
Here's
That
how.
is an
Here's
extreme
how
of
it goes.
What we're talking about.
Here's how it goes, though. Okay, your argument is, I can socialize with my friends while doing it. Therefore, it must be good.
Yeah.
And so what I'm
That is
doing
not
is
the
I'm saying.
argument. We aren't.
What I'm doing is I'm saying just because you can socialize doesn't make something good. Okay? And
Oh,
then
of course not.
and then you're also making an argument, well, you are killing people, but you're not killing your mom. Therefore, it's good.
Okay, but you're not killing real people.
Right. So
real life.
you're pretend killing people.
You're training
you know
your
what?
brain.
And here's the
That's what
thing.
you're really doing.
Here's the last little thing I'll say. And then we do have to go on
Okay.
break. You're saying you're not killing people you know, you're killing people you don't know. Therefore, it's okay. I'll tell you this. When a mass shooter pulls out a gun, he doesn't need
Why
to
are
kill
you
people
relating
he
video
knows.
games to a mass shooter?
How
Because
can
there's
you-
a direct
Serious?
correlation.
How can you not
There is
relate
not
video
a
games
direct
to
There
mass
is.
shooting?
There is.
Kidding me?
Look up the studies.
Holy shit! Are you?
Okay.
All right. That break time.
That, my friends,
There you go.
that is what gamers do.
That is
Okay?
absolute proof.
They can't control their tongue. Their tongue goes rampant all over the place. Okay? And when they're calling into a family-friendly show, they cannot help but pull that trigger
Well,
with
it's
their tongue and splash the entire show.
It's
And
the
that's
o-
exactly why mass shooters pull that trigger, because they can't help but shoot a bunch of people that they don't know, just like they do in Call of Duty.
it's the overstimulated medulla oblongata, right? When you are taking that part of your brain and just pumping it full of rage and energy and, thought and hatred and killing, what other choices do you have? You're training your brain neurologically. You're building myelin on your the connections between your neurons so that the energy's firing faster. So you're quicker to rage, quicker to anger, and you can't even control yourself after a certain point. You're so overstimulated that you outburst. You say, she in this
S.
instance said S, when she didn't want to. And in a completely inappropriate situation. And she's only 16. Imagine someone who's been playing video games a decade longer than she has. S might turn into shooting, right? So think about that one.
Anyway, we're going to go on a quick break, and once we're done with that break, we will be talking about the homelessness crisis and how to solve it. So, don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Her brain isn't fully formed at all.
No, you could definitely hear, if she had met, interviewed, spoken to in person, over the phone, whatever it is, over Zoom, who have suffered from addiction, or should I just say, they're a gamer, she had met even a fraction of those people that have been doing it, like you say, for over a decade, and seen the lifestyle they live. Then that would scare her straight.
You know, I think the reason she isn't able to really quite grasp all the counterpoints to her wonderfully articulated points is because women can't grasp neuroscience. You know, they can't look at it and understand what's going on. You know, they're kind of brain dead in that field of study. And so we can talk to her about, you know, addiction and, you know, the mental patterns that follows and what results of it. But she couldn't even grasp the correlation between Grand Theft Auto and a mass shooter. Like, how can you not grasp that correlation?
In fact, I looked this up when I was studying Call of Duty. Okay, we're studying games. There is a Call of Duty game where just literally your mission is to go through airports and murder innocent people.
I saw that.
Yeah, you're a
It was
mass
just babies. You're shooting babies.
mass shooter murdering innocent people out of airports. And that's the mission? You've got to be absolutely joking me. You have to be kidding me. That is an absolute steaming pile of instability that this gaming doesn't correlate to mass shooters. Of course it does. Name one of these adolescents.
All beef is good. That's actually what decided she wanted to make soup. And I wasn't happy about it. Do you have beef tamales?
They are not beef. They are elk.
Don't go anywhere.
I'll
We'll
eat
be
the
right
ones that
back.
you need. Okay. I don't want to eat the rest of it.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
There is a dark synergy. There is a beast with 3 heads who desires to enslave you. But hidden within the shadows, there is a sword that consumes this darkness once and for all. If only you will master the courage to wield it. Acclaimed author, Carson O. Kimball. Peg, the dark synergy of porn, excessive eating, and gaming exposes the pig cycle and dismantles the lies that enshroud its insidious reign. Peg, the dark synergy of porn, excessive eating, and gaming, coming fall of 2020.
Hello, and we are back. Short quickie. as opposed to our longer breaks that we've had in the past. Because we had such a late start, I think a quickie was definitely in order.
Appropriate.
And so, anyway, before we go ahead and open up the phone lines, let's take a look at the chat. Wonderful. Let's scroll up a tiny bit.
Don't you talk?
Red Hood says, I have a 300 IQ and I play video games. I get straight A+ in school. I have had 3 scholarships to the top colleges in the USA. 300 IQ? I think you need an...
I don't think that's possible.
No.
But it is possible.
I was about to say something very rude, but I stopped myself. Let's just say, I think that, doing like a Facebook questionnaire to guess your IQ is probably what the method that you use to get the number 300. But if your IQ really is 300, I really think that the world needs you. So you should probably call world leaders and offer to be their advisor, or maybe you could, I don't know, get with Elon Musk and invent a rocket ship and that can transport everyone to Mars or something. It seems like it'd be very easy for you if your IQ is 300.
I have something that's 300 that almost nobody else does. Every week, I bowl at least 2 or 3 games of a perfect 300. So when you are not wasting your time playing video games and you want to spend it on the lanes, maybe then you'll, be able to bowl as good as I do.
Right.
Because a perfect game, that is a feat of strength. And I bowl 3 to 4 perfect games a week.
I think Red Hood was that one that we had unbanned, and it looks like Red Hood is now trolling in the chat, saying nonsense filth like no mama says that crocodiles are angry because they have all them teeth, but no teeth brush. I feel like that breaks at least one of our rules. Okay. Red Hood is saying critically acclaimed. Okay, yeah, Red Hood is just a troll.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have had them unbanned. Maybe it's time to whack them off the platform once again.
Whack them out of the chat.
I agree. It says here that Beth is trolling again. I wish I could say I was surprised. What has become of our audience? It's like a cesspool of trolls. Where are all the good people? Joseph Mama says, I haven't stopped crying in 3 weeks because of Beth. Okay. What in the world? This is getting out of hand. What do you think we should do? We're here we're supposed to be solving homelessness. But here we are having to deal with bullying. Again.
Beth, we ask you please to shape up in the chat and wherever else you may communicate with fellow viewers of the show, but not even just viewers of our show, but anybody in your life, It's time to stop bullying.
Right.
And you often claim that you
Red
are not
Hood is saying that video games are
bad.
not bad.
You often claim that
okay.
you are not bullying, and maybe you're not. So then it doesn't matter. But, maybe you are bullying and you don't realize it. We talked about this last week.
Okay. Red Hood, I'm sorry. It's time to be banned. Once and for all. For your misdeeds. Yeah.
Happy Meg. If if you're listening right now, which you should be, we're paying you. Please ban Red Hood.
Red Hood, I'm sorry. It's time to go. Farewell. You tricked us into unbanning you, but it's time for the ban hammer to swiftly come down upon you. And yeah. Yes. Okay. Well, anyway, well, wonderful. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this crisis. Farewell, Red Hood. Banned for life. Okay. So before we answer our first call, we just want to say that thank you. We want to say thank you to all the people that are watching the show in good faith, all the families, and we just want to say, we become very weary after doing this over a year for the filth calls, for the childish jokes and humor at our expense and at the expense of our innocent viewers. And we want to say thank you to the people who have maintained a good atmosphere or tried to, but we've grown weary. I think you can see it in our eyes that we've become hardened by the trolling, and I, in a way we could be mad, but it's made us stronger. So thank you for hardening us, all the trolls.
So first, let's preface this by saying we have a proposition to solve homelessness, and we think we've come up with one of the greatest solutions for the homelessness epidemic in Utah. But also, we have some other ideas that are also fantastic.
Right. And not one idea is going to fix the entire problem. And that's why we are here to take your guys' calls and hear what you have to say. So for the time being, every call that comes in must contain an idea to help solve the crisis of homelessness in Utah. So anyway, without further ado, hello caller, you are on the air with C. Kimball.
And B. Call. Welcome to Mormon Talk. What would your solution
I have a good way that the church could solve, the state of Utah could solve its homelessness problem.
Okay.
Well, wonderful.
Do you remember when there was the hastening of the work fireside?
Yes.
I can't remember which apostle that was.
I don't know if you're talking about a fire. Was it a fireside?
No, it was
over conference.
It was with President Ballard. And it was over the same conference weekend.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was 2014.
Right.
Do you remember that when they lowered the
Yes,
age?
I remember when President Monson. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So after President Monson changed the age, President Ballard discussed having the church houses open more. Do you remember that?
Right.
So, do you believe that if Jesus was on the earth today, he would offer these individuals a place to stay, if not in his own house, that being the church?
I don't think so.
I don't think that the Lord wants the churches to be filled with sleeping people.
Really? Because in the temples in his day, they were filled with sleeping people.
I don't know of that being true, so I'm
in
not
fact,
going to take your word on it. In the St. George Temple, when it was first built, in fact, you can still go in there. When people would travel to visit the St. George Temple, you could sleep and stay in the temple. Right. Well,
should the homeless people not be afforded the opportunity for a warm place to sleep?
Yes, they should.
Even if it's on the floor at the house of the Lord. There's thousands of them across this state.
No.
I think
No.
I think that would be...
Sorry, Brett. I think Brett's trying to talk, but I can't hear him very well.
Oh, no, sorry. There's an issue with our microphones for some reason. Anyway, there's a level of help that is absolutely necessary and should be afforded. However, there's also a level of I'm trying to think of the word, enabling, that, you know, there's you should offer help to people when they need it, but to enable someone to continue being homeless, you know, I think that won't be a solution.
And another thing is this:
I
there are
don't think that's what
children.
the solution
There are
is at all. I
children.
think
There are
they're offering them
there are
to sleep
there are.
as they're going to like LDS employment.
You see,
and
there are
getting jobs
children that
through the
go
church,
to the
like the Desert
church
Industries and things like
for a
that.
refuge
I don't
from
think that's it at all. It's not an enabling. It's very much a let me give you a place to sleep for a week while you go get some money so you can go pay rent somewhere.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Right? Yeah, this wouldn't be a permanent thing.
No, well, here's the thing. There are children that go to the church, and I think that if you were to drop your child off in the nursery and there are a myriad of homeless sleeping in there, it might be an unsafe environment, because a lot of homeless people are there to, you know,
take advantage of the good folk.
Just 2 years ago,
anyway,
they found a dead person frozen to death against an LDS church door.
Oh, that's just
disturbing. I don't know why he'd bring that
Hello?
up.
That was a joke call.
Hello, caller. You are live on the air with Brett O'Call.
NC Kimball. Welcome to Mormon Talk. Do you have any ideas about how to help, you know, the homeless crisis in Utah?
Yeah, first of all, my son, he used to call into your show a lot. His name is Randy.
He doesn't have a son.
I can assure you.
You sound
you
like
are a son.
You are a son, and frankly,
No,
this is going to be a joke call, so we're going to skip.
No, I swear, I can assure you, he's never going to run his phone again. He is never getting any type of signal.
Hello, caller. You are on the air with Carson O'Kimball
and Brett O'Call. Welcome to Mormon Talk. Do you have any solutions to put forth about solving the homeless pandemic?
Yes, hello, more talks. What's I actually do have a couple of solutions. If you're homeless, just buy a house. I'm just joking, more talk. But actually,
yeah,
I feel like if you do have the resources, I think you should donate some of your, even if it's like canned food, you should donate to your local homeless shelter, you know, because they also need a helping hand.
You know, I think that donations can come in different forms, not just money. For example, I donate to the homeless off every year, every holiday. Last year, I wrote a song. It was a Christmas song, and I dealt with helping those in need during this time of year. And so I think that song itself is a good donation.
We did go around and we played that in public for the homeless people.
I have some school teachers. I won't name their names or their relation to me, but I have, you know, family members who are school teachers, and I know that 2 of them actually showed the music video of that song to their students last Christmas. And so that was awesome. And it's really cool because I'm now a teacher myself. I teach early.
Wow.
I teach early morning seminary, and I do it over Zoom. But also, other family members I have that are teachers. Brett and I are actually going to be going into their classroom to be guest speakers. Not about this specifically, but maybe we'll bring it up. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, an interesting.
Also, another thing, my family, we also like donate to the homeless shelter like every year. Is like during Christmas or Thanksgiving, we'll go to the store, we'll spend like at least $400 at least, and we'll just give it to the homeless. Like we'll go to the street, you know, downtown, and we'll donate to the people sleeping in tents, you know. And this one time, it was actually pretty weird. I gave $50 to this man, and he said, "Oh my God!" Then after I gave it to him, he went to this. he went to this alleyway and he bought drugs out. And I confronted him about it. You know, that's not healthy.
See, that's another here. Let me see your microphone. That's another thing that people don't consider. You know, people are always like, you know, the homeless need food and money, shelter, food and money, shelter, right? And it's like, okay, but you know, think of you know, your local homeless. They've probably eaten today. They had shelter last night. You know, these are things that they are afforded every single day. And so, you know, I love the idea of sharing music with them, because when was the last time they got to listen to music? Maybe as a car drove by with their windows down and it was playing loud. Yeah, but that's not, you know, it's usually not wholesome. People that listen to music that way don't listen to wholesome music that, you know, these people are going to want to listen to. And it's just passing anyway. They might hear 2 seconds of a song. So sharing music with your homeless crowd is a great morale booster, because it's reintroducing them into civil life.
I agree.
Of course. Also, one thing I like to add, there are people, I saw on the internet once, there are people that pretend to be homeless just to make money, and it's just absolutely sickening to me.
Fact. They do.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to watch out to, like, the clothes they're wearing, you know?
You know, in spring, so my cousin lives in Springville, Utah, and there was a car parked, or there was a homeless woman that would hold up a sign every single day for like months. And one day, my cousin and I were at the Walmart in Springville, and it was kind of evening, and we saw this person when we came in, and then we were coming out. We saw this person kind of pack up their stuff, and she walked straight up to, it must have been like a 2015 Yukon. Okay, like this lady had a pretty recent car, and it was very clean, and it had really shiny rims, and it looked like brand new tires. And I was thinking to myself, what in the Zankies? Like, this person's not even homeless at all. So we talked to her, and she just lifted her middle finger up at us and then sped off.
Wow.
See,
that's
and
unbelievable.
That's another thing that I did want to bring up tonight. So thank you for bringing us down this path. Is, you know, I think you should monitor your homeless people and make sure that they really are homeless. You know, there's charlatans out on the street begging for money when they don't need it. You know, follow them. You know, keep your eyes out on them, and, you know, make sure that they're not going to their 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 4,000 square feet house. You know,
it's funny you say that. It's because I actually monitored a homeless man once, and it turns out he was in a 2-bedroom house with a bathroom. All right.
Wow.
And he got a restraining order against me because I caught him red-handed. And I was like, wow, like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
You bankrupt people actually need it.
That it's an absolute civic duty to monitor your homeless.
The worst people are.
Yeah, and I think the more monitoring done will reduce the part of the homeless population that isn't even homeless at all.
Yeah, you know, some of these numbers are inflated. Some of the homeless numbers we have on these websites telling us how many homeless people there are, they're inflated. They're totally inflated. You know, people will just, you know, some of the people that conduct these censuses of homeless people, they'll just see dirty people, and, you know, they won't do their due diligence of monitoring these people and following them, you know, throughout the night to make sure that they're not going to their, you know, big homes. Right. You know, so they're just marking down dirty people and not true homeless people.
I think the guy who saw the restraining order, I think he's the only reason why he did that, because I caught him on the toilet. I'm not joking.
I'm sorry, what?
But pretty awkward situation.
He's talking about toilet humor. I'm going to go ahead and say that was not a joke call, but it was going in a direction that might be inappropriate for some of our younger viewers, and frankly for myself even. But hello, you are on the air with Carson O. Kimball
and Brett O'Call. Welcome to Mormon Talk. Do you have any solutions to the homeless pandemic in Utah? Or maybe in your home state?
But before I get to it, I just wanted to ask you guys a quick question.
We are only taking calls about homelessness right now, and yeah.
Okay, then I'll just get straight to it.
Okay, thank you.
So, what is like the current homeless population in Utah like? Is it like
it's like 10 in every 10,000 people.
So are there like, homeless people like on every corner? Like
it depends on where you are. Like if I were to drive up to Salt Lake, there are a cluster of them.
It's bad.
If you go to Pioneer Park, for instance, I was at Pioneer Park one time with with a person. I was walking with a person, and a homeless person decided to go number one right on the grass in front of us. And that's just a tiny snapshot into what the atmosphere is like in Utah. And so but here's the thing, people might say, oh well, if it's only 1 in every 1,000 people.
Yeah.
1 in every 1,000 people, then not a big deal. What I'm saying is, you know what? Here's the thing. It might not seem like a big deal, but it's still homelessness. You know what I mean?
True.
It's still homelessness. And so for us to just say, oh, it's not that many, so we don't have any duty to try and fix it, is just that's how the crisis starts. That's how it perpetuates. And so I just think that that's an inappropriate attitude to take toward it. So Utah is not, it doesn't have the most homeless people but it still has enough for it to be a problem.
True.
You may not. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You may not see, a homeless person on every corner, but occasionally you'll see, 10 or 12 homeless people huddled up on a corner. Mm-hmm. So they're not spread out, so it's one on every corner. They're grouping and festering, and I think if you were to average it out, one for every corner. But that's not how they conduct themselves. They tend to huddle and group, and so I think on average it would be about one per corner.
I kind of see the same things like around where I live, like how you said that you saw someone going number one right in front of you.
Yeah.
I actually saw a homeless person going number two, like right in the middle of the road one time.
It's disgusting.
And I was like, man, like this dude really doesn't care. Like,
yeah,
like homelessness is like, it like festers and rots your mind to a point where just like you lose like all decency,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hate being around homeless people.
Because you see that loss of dignity in people, and it's so sad. It really is.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like someone's singing in the background. I don't know. Hello, caller. You are live on the air with Brett O'Call
and Carson O'Kimball. Welcome to Mormon Talk. Please, if you have any ideas about how to mitigate or solve homelessness, this is the platform here and now.
My temple name is Lehigh.
Nice prank, bud. Hello, caller. You are live on the air with.
I didn't mean any offense when I said that.
It's the same caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air with Carson O'Kimball
and Brett O'Call. Welcome to Mormon Talk.
They got nervous and hung up. Hello, caller. You are on the air with Carson O'Kimball.
And Brett O'Call. Welcome to Mormon Talk. Hello?
Hello?
Caller, you are on the air. Go ahead.
You are live.
Sorry about that. Hi, it's Trevor Leahy again.
Well, welcome back to the show. Do you have any ideas for us, Trevor?
Actually, I'm really happy that this is the topic for this week because I'm recently homeless myself.
Oh, really?
Are you? You're kidding me.
My foster family, they finally kicked me out.
What do you mean finally kicked you out? Is this something that you were trying to make happen?
I was kind of expecting it after they stopped feeding me, but I guess I'm kind of struggling now, living on the streets of Chicago.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's completely awful. Have you reached out to anyone in person for help?
I guess you guys are the only ones I could think of. That's why I'm calling you.
Well, we gosh, I wish that we could,
I actually looked up how long it would take to walk to Chicago from Utah, and it said 469 hours.
Yeah, that's not a trip you ever want to make.
No,
not on
that's why
foot. Not on
would you guys
foot.
be able to come pick me up?
No.
That's a long way to go for a stranger.
So quickly, no.
Well,
I cannot.
Aren't you like? Isn't this about helping the homeless?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there are other ways to help the homeless than driving completely out of your
How
way.
would you guys help me?
Here's
and
how
putting
I
my
would help
family
you.
at risk.
Here's how it help.
I'm just kind of scared.
I know. I'm so sorry, and I'm so sorry for judging you last time, Brett. I've got to make up for that. Okay. Here's the thing.
He's the more judgmental one. I feel like he never believes.
Absolutely.
He always
not.
thinks I'm just.
I think that I am guilty of that.
I'm a bad
Brett
person.
is not a judgmental
It
person.
just makes me feel like a bad person, and it just puts me down even more.
Okay.
No, I'm not judgmental.
We'll call her. Here's what I think you can do. Okay.
Okay.
Call 911 and tell them that you are homeless.
911?
Yes. Call tonight and tell them that you're homeless and that you don't know what to do and you're scared, and someone will come help you. And they'll probably try and reunite you with your foster
I'm
parents.
using a payphone right now, and this was the last amount of change that I could find under the bus stop.
Well, you're in luck, Trevor. You payphones have free access to 911, and
Yes,
the
they do.
police will always be
about to say
willing.
that.
The police will always be willing to help a homeless man in need.
Right.
When I press the 9 button, it kind of shocks me. That's why it was kind of hard to
But
call this.
press it
number.
with a stick.
My
Yes.
finger just keeps getting shocked, and it puts me under more stress. I don't know what to do.
Use a stick.
You're gonna make me get.
Listen.
It's
this
okay.
Is this is fake. This can't be
No.
real. Because of course you would press it with a stick if this were a real call. Come on.
Press it with a stick.
You
Press the
9
9
to call
button.
I'm in a
us.
city. Where there's no trees in the city.
Use your shoes. The
How am I
rubber.
supposed to lift my foot all the way up there?
The
I'm
rubber.
not thinking straight. I'm homeless. What do you expect?
You're gonna receive
You're
help.
thinking
This has
I'm
gotta be
faking
fake.
again.
You were
This is
gonna
fake.
receive help tonight.
I'm not going to take
I'm
this
not
seriously.
faking.
Okay, if
I'm
you're not
trying, and then
faking,
you're-
if you're not faking, we need you to call 911.
Settle down.
But I'm
Gain-
scared.
gain
I need
composure.
Your help just to talk me through it.
If you call
You tell me,
if you call 911 crying, they're not going to take you seriously.
I don't know what to do.
Trevor.
This is fake, Brad.
Trevor, if you call here, take a moment.
Why do you?
No.
This saying this is fake is making.
Maybe
Should I
we
just go
are.
jump off a bridge?
If
Would that be fake?
no, do not jump off a bridge.
Listen.
If you,
It sure will be fake then, won't it?
I have the mic now, Trevor. Listen to me. If you call 911, sobbing and weeping, they're not going to take you seriously.
Wait a minute.
So I take.
I know. That's why I'm trying to talk to you first.
I don't
If
know.
you were calling from a payphone, why would he be calling from a blocked number?
I don't know.
Why would you block a payphone?
I don't know how it works.
I don't know how
Take a
payphone
moment.
works.
Compose yourself and use your shoe to dial 911.
Brett.
The authorities will help you. They will come to your aid. Yes.
They're making us
Take some deep breaths and
I
compose
think I'm
yourself.
home now.
This guy's making us look like a chimp. Okay. Hello, caller. You're on the air with Carson O'Kimball.
And Brett O'Call.
Serious calls only, please. Go ahead.
Homelessness in Utah is definitely a really big problem.
Yes. It absolutely is.
So
what is your solution?
Can I quick tell a little story about the homelessness in Utah?
Short story.
Very fast,
Concise.
because Brett and I would
Very
like to
good.
share some ideas ourselves.
I walked around the corner, in Payson, and I saw Brett kicking Carson's ass. Brett.
Teenagers, we hang up on teenagers immediately. That is new policy. We are going to hang up on teenagers immediately because you guys do not have the mental faculties to handle a serious conversation about helping other people.
I'm seriously about to just completely throw my computer out the window at this point, okay? I'm not happy with how this is going, okay? This is supposed to be a constructive episode.
Okay.
What a completely destructive call, First of all, that's fake, okay? Brett and I have never had any sort of interaction like that. And that sort of rumor has been splashing around in a tornado on the internet ever since we started doing this. You okay? Did you shock yourself?
I moved the gauze.
Oh,
and
Ooh, ouch.
I cut it down to the bone. And so I moved the gauze and it just ripped all of the blood from the bone and
Here, let me see it.
yeah, it's bad.
Okay. I'm cringing now. I'm cringing because I've never broke or fractured or broken or anything, a finger or anything like that.
So,
okay,
I propose we use the rest of the time to
get our message out for
get
once.
our message out, and if there's time after that, we can have discussions about our ideas because I think our ideas are actually constructive.
They're not fake calls from teenagers.
Yeah, they're absolutely constructive, and we can talk about how to implement these in our state and maybe your states as well, or your countries as well.
Right. So one thing that I think is very important to consider is homelessness has gone down a lot in the recent years, which is fantastic. That's exactly what we want, So it's actually gone down, I think, in the last 5 years, 96%. However, what were you saying, Brett?
I was going to say, however, come January, I think it's going to rise back up that 96%. I think it's going to.
That's a fear.
Absolutely. The next 3 years, I think homelessness is going to spike.
Right.
I think you're going to see more homeless people on the streets than you've ever seen in your lives. So we need to
maybe
take this and really start implementing something that's going to work now.
Right.
While there is a dip in the homelessness.
Right. So something that I did read that was kind of encouraging, maybe in a selfish way, is in that period where our homelessness went down, a bordering state, Wyoming, their homelessness went up 230-something%, which is good for us, but for them, not so good. But I'll touch on that again.
Nobody wants more homeless in their state.
Right. I'll touch on that again. So they're being driven to Wyoming, which is, here's the thing, cold. And the thing about cold is, gosh, you really wish you had a home when it's freezing cold out. And Wyoming's colder than here, And so maybe that'll get some of these people to get up and start trying to make a change. You know what I mean? Because homelessness is a choice. Okay.
Absolutely.
And when, when we drive past homeless people and we see their lifestyle, it makes us feel, gosh, they live so low and they get free stuff. Maybe I should too. Maybe I should vote for Bernie Sanders or something, and try and get a handout. You know what I mean? And it's the presence of homeless people that is the most concerning. It's not necessarily just their circumstance. That's their choice. You see, they choose to live in that sort of circumstance. But what it does to the community around them is
the real tragedy. Right.
It's concerning. It harms people. It makes people not want to live in certain areas because there's homeless, And Brett has really enlightened me on this. We have been talking a lot of political things lately, not on the show. Last year I was out in the streets tossing breadcrumbs like normal, to the homeless population, mainly in like the Wasatch Front, mainly, from here in Lehigh down to maybe Payson, you know what I mean? Because there's homeless scattered in those areas. And so I'd go around scattering breadcrumbs like normal, but I realized, that's not the worst thing I could have been doing. It's not helping, though. It's not helping. But giving bread as opposed to giving Cafe Rio or something like that is so much better, because when you're working hard, that's when Cafe Rio really should mean something.
It's a treat.
But if you're getting it for free just because you're homeless, it takes away the savor of the sweet pork, and it takes away the fiesta of flavor, and makes it into something more trivial. And so it's a good thing that the homeless are leaving the what?
Someone was trying to dox you by letting everyone know what apartment complex we live in.
Okay. That's ridiculous. Okay. Anyway,
the sweet pork.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just getting a little heated right now. Reading this chat. I'm sorry, guys. I got to focus on just what I'm saying and not laughing at these stupid comments in the chat. I'm just, I'm at my wit's end with this. With the filth that we received over email and over Twitter, I'm just, I'm not my normal self anymore. I've kind of crossed into this threshold of, I just want, for the sake of all the families that have watched us and stopped watching us, it's time just to put the gloves back on. Okay, the boxing gloves, and keep punching at it. But anyway, back to what I was saying. It's good that we have lower numbers now, but what do you do with the remaining population? So when people are kind of taking away from the community, what can we do to help homeless people give back to the hand that gives them things for free? What can homeless people do to give back? And we thought of, obviously a service rendered. So if you're going to hand a homeless person a bill, a $1 bill, they should have to do something in order to get it from your hand.
Let me stop you, just to be on the same page.
Right.
I want to start with some of our lesser ideas.
Right, that's what I was going to do.
Okay, and then climax at the big one.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So we're just basically, there's that old saying: if you give a person a fish, you feed them for a day.
Absolutely.
If you give them a fishing pole, they can feed themselves. And homeless people, like we were saying, they take away from the atmosphere of a community. And so if you kind of compel them to give back, then it might make them, one, realize, hey, I did something for a person and they paid me for it. Wait a minute, that's called a job. And it can get them in that mindset of, maybe I can work. Maybe I can press buttons on a cash register.
Yeah.
Or maybe I can rake leaves and build my way up. So it does that.
It's fulfilling.
What else does it do, Brett?
I mean, confidence is a big one. A lot of homeless people aren't confident, right? As Carson was saying here, they think that they can't do marketable things. You know, they don't have any marketable skills.
Right.
And, you know, so giving them an opportunity to prove their marketability is a big one. One thing that I thought of as a great idea is giving homeless people cleaning supplies. You know, give them some scrub brushes, some, you know, soap and water, and you'd have to make sure the water was pre-soaped, so they wouldn't just drink it, and go around and clean. You know, clean buildings, clean the sidewalks, clean parking lots. You know, just really clean up the city that they want to live in. And they're providing a great service, but also the city is providing them with job experience, right? That's something that they're going to be able to put down on their resume. So when they go to the local high school and they're like, I would love to apply for a janitor position here, they're going to be like, okay, you know, what's your resume? What's your previous job experience? And they'll be able to say, I was homeless. And the school's going to know immediately this person was working so hard to clean up our city. And our city is beautiful now and sparkling and spotless. That is the resume, right? So that job opportunity, by giving them job experience, nobody wants to hire anybody that doesn't have, you know, previous experience. And that's something that, you know, a lot of you youngsters may be running into is, you know, you're applying for jobs and they're like, well, do you have any previous experience? You say no, and they're like, sorry. You know, we can't afford to hire someone that doesn't have previous experience. So give them experience.
Right. And so what can they do? You know, people who have played the role of homeless and of I can't help myself for so long, what are they already good at? Well, playing the role. And so we're thinking maybe if we started a Kickstarter or something like that, we could fund some sort of a community public theater, so that, because you don't need resources to put on a show like that. You know, you just need your voice
and an audience,
your body and your audience. And with something like a play like Les Mis or something like that, they already have, you know, the costumes for some of the songs. They don't have to do the entire play, but they could do some of the songs, you know what I mean? Like, Do You Hear the People Sing, for instance. They could perform that. And gosh, you know what? I have had the misfortune of walking through the filth pile called Las Vegas, Nevada. And I have, but what I did see is there were homeless people there that had all sorts of zany talents.
Oh yeah.
And so the thing is, maybe there are some untapped talent in some of the homeless. Maybe.
Absolutely. I mean, you could have a homeless talent show. And see, what really comes out of this, I feel, is entertainment, right? Because being on our side of the camera here, you know, being able to bring people together, being able to spread joy through entertainment, there's nothing greater than that. Okay, there are some things greater than that. Let's be honest. But, you know, it feels so good to bring cheer and joy and laughter to people. So, you know, regular folk could come to a park and, you know, witness the homeless
song
folk,
and the dance,
this song and the dance,
right?
And the talent shows.
They could witness, you know, a jamboree of homeless people coming together and giving back to the community, and doing so in a way that brings smiles on everyone's faces and makes them full of you know, of happiness. And the thing is, if you're in that position as a homeless person, for once, you won't be taking, but you'll be giving. And when they can experience the joy of giving, it might make them want to do more. Make them want to go to the public library and write a Craigslist ad and say, hey, I can perform at your child's birthday party or a wedding, or I can rake leaves or something like that. So just kind of teaching people to give back to the people that they take from.
You want a resume?
It will send the ones who just want to keep getting a handout back to Wyoming.
Yeah.
It'll send them away, and we'll keep the ones that want to make something of themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's easy. You want a resume for me to, perform at your party? Come down to the park on Thursday night, and witness my group of friends and our play.
Juggling, doing a play would be the best thing. And so
I think that is the height of culture that, homeless people can really achieve.
And so what Brett and I are kind of unveiling is we are starting a Kickstarter. We are starting a project to put together this community theater. And it's going to happen. And Brett and I are not only going to be organizing the effort, but we're going to become joint playwrights, and we're going to be writing a play that the homeless people can come and get together and perform a wacky and emotional, beautiful performance for their entire community. And the first one will be, we're shooting for organizing in Sugar House, which is, part of Salt Lake City. And it'll be wonderful. No more drum circles and
pot smoking
and toking anymore, but performing Les Miserables or maybe a number from Cats, or maybe even Brett and I's new musical that will be performed if this Kickstarter kicks off right.
And it ties back to, the thing that I said earlier on call with one of our callers, food and shelter, they can get those anywhere. But where can they get music? Where can they get that joy of fulfillment? Where can they get that culture? I mean, the most they can do is hang outside of an art studio and look in the windows, so offering them that opportunity to, re-assimilate into society and, our culture, I think, that puts them in the mindset of, I'm successful. Look at me. Look at all these people that I have satisfied here tonight. I am successful. And then when they think that, getting a job is no problem, right? If you can perform a play, a job, that's a piece of cake.
I agree 100%. So, I mean, I guess maybe we'll take one more call if it goes well, and we'll just take as many calls as there are calls that are serious. And the first joke call we get, we'll just have to end the show. But hello, caller. You are on the air with Carson
and Brett.
Welcome to Mormon Talk. And what do you think about our ideas to sort of rid the homeless from messing up the community atmospheres in Utah?
I think it's great overall.
Pardon? I'm trying to hear.
What?
I'm just trying to hear you. Are you perhaps in a bad area with bad reception?
Oh, let me change this real quick. Hold on.
Sometimes what I do is I will stand on a stool or something.
Yeah.
Is this better, Mom Talk?
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. Well, this is Nicholas again. And last time I called you, I think you might have thought I was a prank call, but if you did, I am sorry.
Well, maybe you gave us a reason, but right now let's stay laser focused on the topic. What do you think about our
proposals?
Oh, I think it's great overall. There are definitely some aspects I would change, but overall, I think it is pretty great.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for that. Is that all you have to say?
Would you?
Can I mute my mic real quick?
Can you what?
Can I mute my mic real quick? Mom, shut up! Mom, shut up!
No, he told his mother to shut up. That's disrespectful.
What more talk?
Answer that one. Hello, caller. You are live on the air with Brett O'Call.
And C. Kimball. Welcome to Mormon Talk.
Beanbag!
Beanbag?
Yeah. Smell my butt. Smell.
Okay. Nobody's taking homelessness seriously. It seems that we are the only people that seem to care. Not only in Utah, but
apparently abroad, because we have viewers abroad right now.
The whole world. We have viewers from everywhere, and nobody seems to care about their homeless problem. We are sitting here trying to create awareness of homeless. We are sitting here, we're up late most nights, just jotting ideas down and working out the logistics of this. You know, we've spent a lot of time trying to remedy the destruction of our communities by homeless, and you guys don't seem to care. It's almost like you guys have the attitude of being homeless.
Yeah, internet homeless. And frankly, you know what? Just like it spoils the fun out of public events to have homeless defecating in front of you. Frankly, that's what's happening on Mormon Talk every Monday night. There are gamers, there are teens, there are people, frankly, just with bad intentions, trying to sow seeds of discord, just defecating in our chat and splashing sewage in the calls. And it's taken its toll. I didn't have a beard when I started Mormon Talk. Okay? I didn't have an ulcer when I started Mormon Talk. Okay? I didn't have hemorrhoids. I didn't have all sorts of problems that I now am constantly dealing with, not just during the show, but throughout my week. You know what I mean? And it's just taking its toll on me. And I am, after the emails that we received and the disturbing videos that we've received from someone who we thought was our fan, our friend, trusted person, someone who's always trying to play the part of, we're a good person. We want to help people find happiness and meaning in their life. And we're always in the chat trying to get people to, feel fellowshipped by us. And then having them send Brett and I
packages in the mail,
that we
it's like we were being bribed, with these packages, and they were trying to, curry our favor, and then they, turn around and send us
videos.
Maybe they thought we're into it, but we've made it very apparent that is
lives.
That is not anything. We're not degenerates like you.
And people might know who we're talking about. Maybe you'd probably be shocked. Some of you maybe not so shocked. But it's crossed the line. That's all I'm going to say.
If you know who these people might be, you should talk to them. You should call them out. You should be like, hey, That's not something that you should be doing. Exactly. You should not be treating Carson and Brett in this way. You should not be sharing your body with them over the internet. It's awful and terrible, and you may not be better than that, but they're better than that. They deserve more. The stress of the show, Carson and I shouldn't have to relate to each other about burst hemorrhoids. That's not something that it's a sad fact of the matter, right? This isn't something that we used to talk about.
No, especially over something like this. We're trying to help. We're trying to get people to hear the message of what's made our lives good, which is frankly the gospel of Jesus Christ. And when we have people coming in the chat trying to say, "Hey, are you LDS?" and good LDS people be like, "Yeah, I am," and they're like, "Oh, why? Why are we have people in the chat that are trying to get people actively to leave the church?" Which is, come on, guys.
And all we're trying to do is, bring people to the church. Show people
if you have
what
questions,
it's like.
Yeah, if you have questions or if you have a doubt or something, call in and share it. But don't try and pull people in with your kindness, like in the chat, and then try and say, "Oh, well, you're LDS. Oh, interesting, weird. We should talk about that sometime." And then try and sow seeds of dissent. Right. And it's like what Brett was saying about the ulcers and hemorrhoids and the stress and just the sleeplessness sometimes, the deprivation. I used to be excited to do Mormon Talk. Now it's like, I'm like, oh no,
it's a service now.
I have to do Mormon Talk tonight. I have to be splashed.
It's an obligation at this point.
In front of families.
See, everyone should aspire to be more like Dr. Shades.
Yes.
Dr. Shades is someone who has issues sometimes with doctrine and
right.
his testimony. And guess what? He calls in. He calls in
respectfully.
With
good faith.
He's not trying to tear the church down, tear us down. He calls in and says, "Hey, I have confusion about this subject. Would you mind enlightening me? I would be honored by your enlightenment, Carson and Brett." And we're like, well, we're happy to oblige. Right. That's what we want to do.
That's the example people should be setting. Dr. Shades, 100%. Okay? And you know what? Here's the thing about Dr. Shades. He's willing to be helped too. Okay? He had a crisis that went beyond just having questions about doctrine. But he actually went through a physical
crisis.
And we thought, okay, Dr. Shades would not lie to us. And sure enough, we got with him privately. We went to his home. My wife and I brought Texas Roadhouse takeout for not only him but his family. And we brought a bag of corn from the corn roast that he couldn't attend and left it on his doorknob. And it turns out, guess what? He was absolutely 100% in the condition that he said he was. He was going through a crisis. He had been physically injured, and we saw it ourselves.
Hold on. I just came up with a great idea. Let's turn this negativity around into positivity. I thought of something that you and I can do this holiday season for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, Easter. It's a new campaign called Corn the Knob. How does that sound?
I know exactly where you're going with this.
We
put
roast
bags
corn.
of corn on doorknobs.
We just go around indiscriminately.
That's awesome.
And we corn the knob.
Dude, that was incredible.
See,
wonderful.
That's more of what we need.
And that would not have come to us were it not for Dr. Shades, who calls in good faith. That's awesome. Let's corn some knobs this holiday season. Everybody. Even you could include packets of seasoning. If you want to do, a Mexican style corn style knob. You know what I mean? A corning, of someone's knob. There are all sorts of ways you could do it. That's awesome. But you know what? Thank you. We're going to have to end the show tonight. Thank you for all the few calls that were serious. And we're thankful for our longtime viewers that have been here from day one.
Our good ones.
Yeah. I would love to give them a shout out. But I would be too afraid of missing one of them because I'm very stressed and exhausted right now.
We would feel so ashamed
if
we happen to miss one of our longtime viewers.
So Brett and I have a challenge for everybody. Okay? Go to your local farmer's market or Walmart or wherever it is. Sprouts, Whole Foods, it doesn't matter. Smith's, okay? And buy some corn on the cob. Look up a good YouTube video or recipe or something and get your wife to roast that corn, okay? And then you take your kids or you just yourself or you and your wife or whomever and you get some plastic bags from like a grocery store or something like that. And you leave them on people's knobs and knock on the door and run away. Or you could sing a Christmas carol. It doesn't matter what it is. You could sing the official Mormon Talk Christmas carol. Okay? Holding on to Christmas. And send us pictures of it.
And please. This is specifically for people with knobs, with doorknobs. People that...
I think most people have them unless they're homeless.
No, I'm saying, that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't think the homeless will appreciate such a kind gesture that someone with a home does. We've outlined why, giving food to homeless people isn't helpful. They don't appreciate it and it's not going to help them in their lives. So, take the kind gesture to give something to somebody that does have a home. Right?
Dave Hawkins says, sounds a little corny.
Dude, hey, if we can make Christmas corny,
that's awesome.
That's what we're going for.
You know what? If that's corny, then I think every Christmas should be very corny. Very corny. So everyone, corn some knobs, or so
corn the knobs. Yeah.
Corn the knobs with those corn cobs.
That's a tough one.
Holiday season. And to everyone who is already subscribed, thank you. But if you are not subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. We have some zany things coming up in the future, and we really do appreciate you. Thank you, and good night.
Good night, Mormon Talk.
There's a place I've come to know where the righteous always flow. It's a beacon for my soul. It is called.
I know. That is great. We have to seriously do this weekend. Let's do this weekend. We should. Yeah, maybe we can look into the patent laws. But yeah, or maybe we could start like a let's throw away. What about the?